Everyone. Let me actually see the chat. How's everyone doing? Do we get to go home early? I mean, you can go home anytime you want, Dylan. Your intro was sitting awkwardly in silence. Okay, don't know why that was. How's everyone? I'm gonna put a giveaway up just to tease people over from other streams that might be more entertaining. Oh my! You like it, Dylan? You've never seen. You're never awake at 4 a.m. What's wrong with you? I'm good. How are you, Althor? Uh, cool. Um, Obviously, I have too much time on my hands, so I make videos. You're like sleep. Sleep is overrated. Uh, yeah, Justin, you're not lying. That's true. All right, let's kick off. Um, first rule: what happens in Fight Club? Wait, wrong place. Sorry, we're in the new Collectors Club, and um, there are no stupid questions. We've always heard that, and it's true. And then very few ground rules, really two. Um, we can debate facts. We can't debate philosophy because that's the reason people collect their philosophy. So, hi, Ian. Are you pouring the wine for everybody? Please? Is Dylan acting up? Dylan's acting up. All right. Where's Jim? Jim was in the corner last time. I think Dylan's up this time. All right. Papa Court. Thank you so much, Ian. Sit down. Down, 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 down. All right. So, in the first session of this, we talked about silver confusing the coin market. I think it's still doing that. But at least we know kind of why. And no well, fire medic, just not obsessively talking about apps and APIs, please. The So that was the first session. Then the last one was really centered around grading. And if you are a member of the Warner Street Discord server, I have posted our notes, my notes, my posters from there. The other thing I wanted to mention is I am about a week behind, but I am posting on YouTube. That's my YouTube channel. I am posting these sessions. So if you hear something, you want to go back to it, screenshot this, and you can go, well, Ryan Rye, it's basically a chat channel. It's a chat platform. But you can, oh look, I misspelled YouTube. I think it's still phonetically correct. But there you go. That QR code will take you to my no, this will take you to my YouTube channel. YouTube doesn't read chat. Well, I'm not typing it. Okay. Does everybody have a screenshot that wants a screenshot? And no one made fun of my phone protector? Good. Um Discord link. I don't know. Dylan, you want to text it to me real quick? Dylan, have you already left the class? wait and see. No, the case is awesome. The case is awesome. It's my screen protector that's not so great. Dylan, Discord. Oh, okay. Dylan, you texted me. I'm already a member. I need the QR code that you flashed on screen. I'm here. I think Dylan was in the bathroom. That's my guess. Hold on. Inbound. There we go. Okay, this is the Warner Street Discord link. And thank goodness my laptop's downstairs. Otherwise, it would be chirping right now. But that will take you to the Discord channel. I post all my slides up here. And you'll see the Stewby Flipside section at the bottom. And I also post up the reserve as well there. So awesome. And I like that screenshot. Oh, you minimizing my stream. Okay. So we talked silver and the confusion on the coin market. Then we talked grading. And this is feedback driven. And so I kind of struggled this week. I only got a few suggestions, and I'm super appreciative of the suggestions I got. But really, it kind of stemmed around the history of certain coins, and I like to tie in little tricks, so little tips that I have. But I want to open the floor first for those of you who have attended either or both of the last. Are there any follow-up questions on the silver confusing the coin market discussion or the grading discussion? Jeff, how I will post it again. Hold on. And while I'm doing this, if there are any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat from either of the previous two sessions. And if not, you want to do a history of Mexican coins. But yeah, so we'll get there, right? If you think about kind of where we've been, it's like, welcome to live selling and the chaos that's happening, and let's divide silver and coins and make them two different categories, and let's know that you can value them both ways. And then last week we talked about grading, which is really about preservation, appreciation, validation, verification. So we are starting to talk about the coins, right? And we're starting to worry less about what metals in them. So that gives us the opportunity to talk type coins. And remember, in the first session, I said if you're new to collecting, the best thing I think you can do is pick a lane and research that lane, understand it, and that will give you, a basis to start, and then you can switch over to other lanes. That's how we ended up looking at Ike dollars. That wasn't intentional. It was just a short run. They ran from 71 to 78, and there's 8 different varieties. Some of them are made of silver. So kind of a cool little lane. All right, let's see what I missed. You missed half the first section. Okay, so Meg, go to my YouTube channel and click on this. I had to break the first one into 2. Click on the second one, so part 2, and I go through the red book, and I go through the Ike dollar discussion. I just talked about. We will go to Red Book tonight, so don't worry. We'll get familiar. And you learned about a good Kennedy. Oh, the 70D. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So let me. It's time for me to geek out. Let's do this. All right. So this is the theme for tonight. I'm gonna move this up just a little bit. Beautiful, bossy, and baffling. So we're gonna talk about several series of coins. And we're gonna dive right into the Mercury dime because it's my favorite. But anyway, some let me click the right button here. So when we talk about the Mercury dime, the Mercury dime is not actually Mercury. Mercury is a male character, right? But because it has wings, it adopted the name Mercury, and it's officially called the Winged Liberty Head Dime, and it ran from 1916 to 1945. I think most of us know that. We've seen Mercury dimes run a lot on this platform. And, your key dates are really the 1916D and the 1921D. And that really has to do with rarity, the number of coins that were produced. Yeah, I am a dime freak. I'm a dime freak for sure. So I'm going to take down the slideshow for a bit, and we'll look at a Merc dime, right? Its highlights are, I mean, like I said, we're all super familiar with this. And let me see if I can pull up my stuff here. So this is Liberty, not Mercury, and wearing a wing cap, which is symbolizing. Does anybody actually know? I should ask. Do we know why Liberty is wearing a wing cap? Yeah, the Meadow Mountaineers right on it, actually. Freedom of thought. That is exactly it. Not a donkey on it. And then the reverse has fascias and an olive branch, which represents what? It's very American. Guesses? Not peace. Quite the opposite. Strength. So the olive branch is peace, yes. But the fascists are military preparedness. And so it got its name because it resembles Mercury. And we're going to come back to more about the Mercury dime in a little bit. We're going to continue, but I have another fun tie-in to the Mercury dime in just a little bit. No, it was not, Jacka. It's Liberty, and they winged Liberty to express freedom of thought. And there's also a little shade in that, and we're going to get into that. So Anyway, as we mentioned, everything on the reverse except the olive branches are about strength and military preparedness. That's why there's a hatchet at the top. Anyway, but that's kind of the question. When you look at this coin, it seems like it evoked peace for most people. We're going to get to the tea. Don't worry, Meg. Do we feel like this projects peace or war? Or martial, let's just say that, or both. Strength or, yeah, it's both. I mean, again, that's subjective because it's what it evokes for you, but it was designed to represent, really, it was designed to represent our forward thinking and our military might. And so, Meg, you asked what the key dates were. The number one Holy Grail key date is the first year Denver Mint, so 1916 D. And then the next real follower is the 1921 D. And those are really based on just the number minted. And so, Cyber Night, time to go. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, but there was also another meaning to this coin that we're going to get to later. And if we look at the coin, so this is an MS66, right? Fairly high grade. Obviously, MS70 would be perfect. But there's another designation that really enhances the quality and value of any given Mercury dime, and it's on the back. And this coin does not have it. So, yes, full bands. And so this one has full bands at the top and the bottom, but not the middle straps here. So, oh, okay. So full bands literally mean, if I thought in advance, I would have gotten a pointer. But right here, where the straps are, and right here, and right here, they need to be perfectly divided. And you see the top and bottom are, but the middle is united. That doesn't indicate in this coin where. That indicates that it wasn't struck as strongly as other strikes. So the FSB designation increases the value. It just means a super strong strike. Yeah, and we are going to get into that topic today as well. So this comes up. This is a collector question. All right, so I've just shown you a really high grade Morgan. I've just showed you a really high grade Mercury dime. And assume it has full bands designation. Let's just assume it does. The question I would have for you is, would you rather have this coin in this condition? Just assume, okay, this is a 45, but you could assume like it's a 38. Or a 1916 D in really rough condition, because that's like what you're going to find. 1916D, 1916D, 1916D. And why? Because of rarity? It's kind of, yeah. So you're one of the few people that own them. And because I didn't say so. I asked a question. Um the reality is that is a key facet, right? That's obviously what affects price. But I like looking at this beautiful, lustrous Merc dime, right? But yeah, there's a balance between I may be one of a few thousand people versus that Merc dime, right? And so ergo the price is scarcity based, because we all have that thought, or some of us have that thought. We want to go have the thing not everybody else has. Yes, you can have dose, Ian, as we know. um, but if you do have a 16D in MS62, Ian, I need to know immediately. You need to let us know, and we're going to auction off right now, starting at $1. Yeah, and a plain 21, but no 16D. Yeah, I'm the same now, Donkey. I have various grades of the 1921D. They are easier to find. The 16D is rare, and especially in good condition. I gotta buy something in order to look at something. It sounds like a different stream. Um, Interesting. All right. So I've got two 1916Ds. You might have people DMing you. I don't know. Even the smells cost a nickel. All right. So I got this one, this question, this suggestion. You guys tell me what you know. So not about the Merc dime, but about this guy. This guy, Charles Barber. Do we know who he is? Nice. Anybody? No clue? Well, he was mustachioed, that's for sure. He was a designer. He was a designer. He had a title, though. He was a lot of things. Dylan, elaborate. What was he? A lot of things. Because I feel like that was a little bit of shade. A bit arrogant and jealous. Did not want to see his. Yeah, he ran the Mint. Second place in a competition. You are here for the tea. We're getting to the tea. So Charles Barber was the chief engraver for the U.S. Mint. He was the sixth chief engraver for the U.S. Mint from 1880 until 1917 when he died. That's an interesting point that we'll talk to. He was actually English and then trained under his father at the Mint, and then became chief engraver after his father died. There you go. Exactly. So think about the dates. 1880. When was the Morgan released? Exactly. 78. 2 years later, Morgan dies and Barber becomes the chief engraver. So here you go. Family lineage. Um, and he was responsible for a few coins, but we definitely know some, right? We know them. Whoops, I did something wrong. That doesn't work out well when I do that. That doesn't work out well. This is about to be a bunch of things that don't work out well. All right, here we go. So this is a Barber half, also Barber quarter, and Barber dime. And for the most part, the Barber half and the Barber quarter look very, very similar. And the Barber dime has a wreath on the back. It's a little bit more simplistic, smaller piece of metal, harder to put things on. Okay. So a lot of people have commented on Liberty in a Barber design. They kept the denticles of the Morgan. You're absolutely right. And a lot of people have not liked the design. As a matter of fact, they find it quite masculine for Liberty. I'm going to pull out one that we can maybe see. There's a Barber quarter. We can see some of the details a little bit better. But really a nice design. But there were a lot of folks that didn't like it. Run it. Now, we don't sell anything on this show. On a later one, maybe. But let's get into some drama. Let's get in to this question. So he was known to be a bit of a control freak. And there were a lot of opinions. We're gonna get into them. But here's the question. If you know anything about him so far, the better discussion is really not making him a control freak, not necessarily villainizing him out of the gate, but there is this idea that he was protecting the Mint's ability to make durable circulating coins. And I mean, this coin is 124 years old. It has made it a long time. This one's over 100 years old also. So did he achieve that mission? Possibly. And so anyway, he had the following tension to work with as collectors. Like if we're looking at Charles Barber, we want beauty in our coins, and the Mint needs money that works. So there were some definite things that Charles Barber railed against. You're familiar with the Saint-Gaudens double eagle, right? He hated that. He hated that design. He objected to anything with high relief. He wanted every coin to be able to stack. One Well, the Saint-Gaudens design, it's similar to this. This is a modern eagle, but it's similar to this, the Saint-Gaudens design. Um, they did stay in circulation for a long time, and lower denominations circulated more. Yeah, I mean, he arguably achieved the mission. Um, he was behind. Why? Why? I just said why, but why? Why would he be? Why would the Incus Indians? Why would these be something that Barber supported? Yeah, low reliefs. Exactly. The coins would stack. The coins would be able to be transported and stored more efficiently. And then, yeah, you'd still be able to identify the coin. Um, because you think about in a similar time frame, um, the Buffalo nickel, oops, right? Buffalo nickel is one of the most famous undatable coins out there in worn condition. Um, and it was because of all the high reliefs on it. So, um, the control freak case for Charles Barber is this: he seemed to resist outside artists. He wanted to control all of that, including the Saint-Gaudens wave, which everybody found very popular because they're beautiful. And he was the institutional gatekeeper who had to turn sculptors like models into coins that could actually be mass produced. So that was his control freak side, right? If you're a fan of Barber, he was heavy handed in changing the Buffalo design a few times. Yeah. If you were a fan, the defense of Barber, collectors love beauty, but the mint had to make money that worked. And while Barber series may not be your favorite, they were durable and they have um, survived. I mean, keep in mind, here's slicks. Hold on. Here's some Barber slicks. What do we have? We have a date, right? We have the United States of America and we have the denomination. That makes this money. This is still spendable money. And it's over 100 years old. So, um, his durable design arguably worked. And really, I have very few slicks where you can't identify the date, the denomination, and that it's the United States. Um, yes, they really are. Um, but they're not everybody's favorite, right? Because, like I said, Liberty appears slightly masculine. There's not a lot of interesting things going on the obverse. I would argue that the reverse is fairly patriotic, fairly consistent with the message the United States likes to send. Um, it was the obverse, I think, that on the Barber series that really sort of rubbed people the wrong way. Um, well, we're gonna get there, because he didn't do anything with the peace dollar. All right, now I have a poll. So some of you have a very brief introduction, and some of you know more. Um, Let me type up the poll real quick. It'll take me a second. Um, Sorry, I'm character limited in what I want to say. And it's okay if you don't know the answer to these questions because we just went through a brief thing. There we go. I'll leave that up for a second. Jeff Howe, congratulations on the giveaway, by the way. Just realized that. So, more than half the room has voted, and basically half feel like he was both. So, I guess an effective engraver, controversial but effective. Who worked on the Colombian? Hold on. Decorative and slick, Mercs, they're unreadable. All right. Ian, don't skip ahead. Don't skip ahead. Um, you're all right. You're right. So, um, the Barber series, this is the Barber dime. We didn't show this one. You see this almost every day on my show. This is the one where the design deviated the most. The dentals are still there, but we just have the wreath on that. Okay. Now, does anyone know that Barber was responsible for this? Yep. Yeah. So if Barber had a folly, it was this coin. Oh, I guess I should take this down. No denomination. Exactly. So we all know the story. I've said it here a few times, but the racketeer nickel was invented from this coin. And I will say we all have heard about Josh Tatum. And that's more like urban legend. They were they were racketeered more frequently than just Josh. Um, but this is one of those stories where the myth is more fun to follow. And so, so we like that story. And there was a Josh Tatum, and he did, he was one of the participants, but there were others. And so this should the Mint have caught this error before it went out? I mean, they obviously decided they need to correct it, but should they have been on the front side of that? Should they have anticipated that? So we have one answer to that. That the yes, the Mint should have. The Mint should have anticipated this problem and dealt with it. Um, Probably. Yeah. He had no sense. So that brings into question. If Barber was a control freak, um, is this one place where he lacked judgment or control? didn't think, and I don't know the answer to this, right? But if he was a control freak on design, um, and this is, very much consistent with um his type of design, at least on the obverse. They don't see a criminal's point of view. That is true. You don't anticipate what people are going to do wrong. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I just pointed out that, like, having a date, having United States of America, and having a denomination make this currency. Did this fall under denomination? It's 5. Rigged. Did you win? Who won? Dylan. Dylan won. Totally rigged. So, right. I don't think this fell under denomination. It's a Liberty nickel. We know that, but I don't think it meets that criteria. Okay. So let's tie back to Barber's death, 1917. And what comes along in 1916? The Merc dime. And Barber had nothing to do with this. And the wings, freedom of thought, was actually a slight to Barber because artistry took over the mint. And then we started talking about the peace dollars. And we get to 1921 and artistry finds out that high relief doesn't work because they don't stack, What was the V for? This right here. This is Liberty nickel. The V is a Roman numeral 5. So it meant 5 cents. But they left cents off in the first issue. And so what people ended up doing was plating this in gold and passing it off as a $5 piece instead of a 5-cent piece. And they corrected it in 1883. In the same year they produced it, they corrected it. And so all subsequent ones have cents written right here. Let me see, do I have one with cents? I usually don't have any cents. No, I don't. All right. So that that brings us back to the to the Merc dime, right? The Merc dime was a whole new era in design. They were free from Barber as an engraver, and you started seeing designs I personally like. I like Merc dime. I like the peace dollar. You start seeing those designs come into play, and a little bit more focus on the look and less on the functionality. Does anybody have a preference? Right, so we think Morgan, Barber, and then we go into artistic design with Merc dimes, peace dollars. What else after that? Oh, the standing Liberty quarter. Yeah, exactly. So do people prefer the functionality of the Barber? I mean, I agree. Barbers are nice, right? They look nice. Definitely agree. Um, but this is my favorite coin. But Anyone have an opinion? Art preferred, but in good condition. Yeah, I mean, every coin. Let me see, this is probably a 21B or something. But yeah, when it gets worn down, that's a 16. This is a 16D, you think? Yeah, I think it's a 16. But um it does. You definitely can tell what it is. Over the artistry, what it was so what's the first part of that sentence, El Camino? You prefer you prefer the artistry of the Merc over the functionality of the Barber? Cool. Same. I'm I'm in the same boat. Um then we get to more, like modern designs, and Liberty left, and we're left with Franklin D. How do we feel about this? I kept similar concept on the reverse. You always thought it looked generic. Is that because we all grew up with this? Like, this is what we saw? Because I think everybody, or a lot of people, know the story of my sister worked at a grocery store, and she brought, I have the coin. She brought this home. Somebody had paid their groceries with this. And I grew up with this, and I saw this. And I was like, I have to have this. Until they took the silver out of it in KJC. Why? Why? Why does it matter? Why did the silver matter to the design of the coin? No real what's worth 10 cents. And I'm about to debate you a little bit on something, because I know KJC, you collect really nice condition war nickels. Yep. Galbraith is your favorite designer. Not a passion, just capital set. Okay. But people pay attention to war nickels because they do have silver in them. They're also a limited run, so they're kind of interesting. Um, yeah, I can't comment on bills. I don't know paper. But I am going to segue into Jefferson Nichols. And we're not going to really talk so much about the history of the Jefferson nickel, but tell me what you all know. Like, throw out a key date for a Jefferson nickel. 90, 50D, 50D. Yeah, no, that's fine, Meg. We're here to learn. I just want to see if anybody does have an idea. And yeah, I mean, the key date, the key, right? They there are several semi keys, but a 50D, right? That is the key date that everyone looks for. And looks like it has full steps too. Nice. Um 54S is one. I have a question for you though. And disclaimer, because Redbook, while it categorizes things, when you get to varieties and different qualities of strikes, they don't do a great job of that. So, so what I mean is FS, which is full steps, is not covered by the Red Book grading, so it's kind of baked in. So 39D is not the expensive one. The doubled Monticello and 5 cents in the 39D is the expensive one. But I wanted to point something out that you may not know. So we all said the key date is the 1950D, and somebody said 39D, but let's just go to 1950D. Why is it a key date? Because there were less than 3 million made, 1/3 of the amount that were made in Philadelphia, and there were none in San Francisco that year, right? And then if you look at 49, there were just tremendous amounts. And so arguably a 51S, right? You've got all these dates. Okay. Now I want to show you something here about the 1950D, a key date, and you start looking at it in its highest grade that Red Book covers, which is MS66, and it's valued at $40, right? Okay, if you go up here, you'll see a number that says 725. That's an error. They don't know how many were produced. It's a 1945P double die reverse. So, okay, fine. Errors are priced way differently. But I want to show you something that you might find interesting. So, look at the 1962, and you look at the 62 Philadelphia, and less than 100 million were minted. And the 1962D, 280 million were minted. But let's follow that number out to MS66. You remember that for the key date, 1950D, the high end was $40. $40. Well, Jesse, I'm just about to explain why just saying it's a key date, it just means it's harder to find because there were only 2 million made. But for some reason, this rather boring 1962D with nearly 300 escalates very quickly in cost. Yeah, Meg, that's why, right? This is where Red Book compresses some features together. But yes, a 1962D in Mint State 66 with full steps designation is actually a very expensive coin. And you're seeing a whole lot here that are more expensive than a 1950D. So again, if we go back to the 1950D, I'll show you again. The 1950D with only 2.5 million, and at MS66, $40 is the high end of the price grind. Yeah, you never see the 63, the 62D with full steps. That's the reason that price is like that. Okay, yeah, Ian. Hoarding of better dates can play a role. If everybody does it, yeah, sure. That's what I've done with Puerto Rico quarters, right? Puerto Rico quarters are all worth $1,000 now. But I reference this because I really want people to look at their Red Book and ask questions. The first time I told you, don't worry about the price. Just look at the mintages. and that would give you some guidance as to what you should collect. Now I'm telling you the opposite. Go over here and look at these and figure out why they're so expensive. Now, we're going to see almost always it's an error, right? But in some cases, like the, I'm got to flip over a page, but the 62D, it's not. It is because they've compressed the quality. I'm going to tell you, you can go find right now a 62D and MS66 for like $65. It's the full steps designation. Redbook doesn't capture that. But yeah. So that was something I wanted to introduce you guys to, because the last time I introduced a little tip, people seem to like it. Yeah, this one has the Philadelphia, but never mind the D. The Philadelphia is more expensive than the 50D in same condition, but it is, here's the full steps explanation. And that's a little altered. This is AI, so the steps aren't that dramatic. They're really compressed. But well, if you have 6, sure, but 5 will work. I think there are technically 7 rows actually. But it's more about they have to be uninterrupted, just like the bell lines on Liberty Bell. So that was what I wanted to point out. So here's another example here of what you're looking for when you look at full bands. And full steps. So let's take this 1950D that I have right here. Key date. Let's find out. Now, I wish I had pulled up a 62D. I just happened to notice that as I was preparing, I was like, this would be good. But let me pull the slideshow down real quick. There we go. So that's got a lot of steps, but not full. It's close, but no cigar. So this is a high grade, but you see how over here they just didn't. Well, actually, when I do it with the light, there's still a break, which actually looks like aftermint damage, but they will be much more pronounced. Let's see. I mean, the break does look like aftermint damage, to be honest, but maybe this could have been FSB, but now this is actually a damaged coin. So that's what you want to look. I said FSB, full steps. Sorry. So that was it. You threw it in your junk pile, 1950D. So who does not already have a red book? And I'm saying this. Okay. So there is a new version coming out, but I don't know if it's worth waiting. All the new version is going to have is brand new coins issued since the last. And I was doing some perusing through this with somebody earlier today on the modern dollars. And I will say, not intended for circulation Kennedy halves are interesting in this book. But really, when we get to modern dollars, like there were just a few. What is this, the there's one that the Cheerios one is insane. But I went through all the presidential. In proof 68, you've got some value, but you only really will miss the coins that were issued in the last year. Oh, sorry for leaving the microscope up. The Mega Red has a lot of information. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Um, and I'll put the Mega Red up. If you go to stewbyflipside.com, there are links to the Red Book, Cherry Picker's Guide, World Book, and then as well Mexico Coin Book right now. But I'll add Mega Red up and other things so you can kind of find them easy there. I just wanted to show you this one. This is one where cents was added, right? Beautiful example of a Liberty nickel. So Barber design. But yeah. So that's kind of what I plan to talk about tonight. That doesn't have to be everything we would talk about tonight. So I'll open it up for questions if anybody has any. Yeah, and we talked about grading by example, also using PCGS PhotoGrade. But I agree, learning about the coins is really great, especially if you pick a lane that you're going to collect in, then deep dive into those coins, because Red Book only gives a real brief summary. About the diploma program itself, I like their grade. I mean, they have a grading boot camp going on right now. So whether or not you achieve the diploma, like if you get more comfort in grading coins, I think that's a good thing for everybody, right? Like setting realistic expectations for yourself when you're looking at a coin saves a lot of disappointment. It gives you a lot of confidence. So I mean, I'm a member of the ANA, and I like their resources. Super welcome. Um, I will say, pick a lane, or you'll end up with a bunch of shit. Yeah, no, it's true. And actually, um, as a seller, I have the same problem, right? Because I have to be able, I can't just sell what I collect. Some people are fortunate. Some people like just collect Libertads, and so they can have a stream where that's what they do. All right, with silver, all right, hold on. There's two questions. So, is the 34S piece a conditional survival rarity or a strike quality error? Well, we're going to answer that real quick by looking at Red Book first, right? So, the first one is a scarcity question, and and I like to answer these questions with you, right? Um, so let me take this slide down. So if we go here and look at the 34S, sorry, there's a note. Actually, I went on a 34D, first the D. Values for variety with small mint mark on reverse. Okay, got it. That doesn't apply. But relatively speaking, they made, what, 2/3 of the same amount as they made of the others, except in the early years, right? The 22 and 23. So that makes me lend much more towards survival. But that's one where you want to do much more research on that coin in particular. And the 34Ds are also interesting. And I've got one. I've put it for sale a few times. No one's back. Yeah, Javi, good. I don't know, Javi, have you joined my Wednesday shows? My Wednesday shows are, I don't sell anything. My Wednesday night shows, I don't sell anything. It's just it's Coin Club. So we talk coins, we answer questions. All right, Ed, with silver going up and down, do you see a problem with the price of silver versus collecting potential? Yes, and I would recommend that you go to my YouTube page, which is Stewby_Flipside, and you look at the one labeled Part One, and I discuss silver as one floor, and then the collector value as another floor. And we covered that as an entire session, and it's all recorded, so I definitely check that out. Larry, curious why the 30s, 31 and 30s, 31D and 31S Mercs are fairly cheap for low mintage coins. I have found them cheap as common dates. I don't know that I have a great answer for that. Dylan or Chris, are you guys in the room? Do you have an answer for that? The red book answer is in high grade they are not. um like for example, um a 1934 an MS65 is $49, whereas a 31S is $405. And that may be an arbitrage opportunity. I'm assuming, are these graded ones or ungraded ones that you're talking about? Yeah, and the 30S and 65 is 375 raw. So, Larry, if you're seeing that and you believe that they're sitting in in mint state quality, buy it. So we can look at this in real time, right? So we're talking about the 31S, the whatever, the 30, the whole set you're talking about. 30S, um, 31, 31D in mint state 63, which is not a particularly hard grade to achieve. Now you're fine, silver guy. Dab time. So yeah, collect those, send them in to your favorite grading company, and if you get a 63 or 64, 65, you've done well. Yeah. Yeah, I have, like, I don't want to tell you, there's like a drawer full of them right here. And in high grades, there's like, this one's kind of, but there's like tubes of them just hanging around. Um, yeah, I collect less Barbers, and it is actually because I don't like the design of Barbers particularly for myself. So Captain Smackin, if we look at the live stream scenario, the live selling, yes, it is. But when you really are talking about um, when you're really talking about high grade coins for high dollars, there are auction places for those, right? Heritage and Stacks Bowers, you can definitely unload there. Um, and like PCGS will give you comps for that. Let me just see what we've got. Um, let's just see what we got from PCGS. I'm going to CoinFax app, by the way. And I'm going to look up Merc Times. And just look up a 31S. And yeah, so Redbook may have a higher estimation. Well, because PCGS has a 64 at 300. 2 years ago, 168 is Stacks Bowers. And so that matters, obviously. And 65, though, it does seem to step up quite a bit. And let's go look at a 31D. So kind of worse performance in the 31D. But still, if you're buying them for 20, $30, then it's still a good proposition. Super keyword works and whatnot for sure. Way, yeah. But you saw, hey Robert, I don't know if you saw during the Barber, I was showing off a nice example of a Barber order, and it's a nice looking coin. Um, yeah, so they do look nice originally. I can give you that. But real beaut. So, for next week, can I ask? We've covered silver, we've covered grading, we have covered some type coins. Now we talked about Charles Barber. We could talk about other designers. We could talk about anything, but really, I want you guys to help me decide what to talk about. I This is supposed to be interesting for you. Therefore, your curiosities, your questions, those are the things I need to hear. And I have been super thankful. There have been quite a few people that have reached out and given me ideas. And I think for those of you who've reached out, you've seen that I've tried to so not a donkey. I've had it in my personal collection for like 20 years and I haven't graded it yet. So I don't know. Um, I discussed last week, I have a mixed philosophy about grading. Like, it's my coin. I don't intend to sell it. Do I really care what somebody else's opinion about it is? Um, the Can we start respecting the penny? So I talked about that today. I don't really. I'll talk about it with somebody that I think we need to start talking about pennies. I think it's important. I say it in my show, which maybe seems like a sales tactic, but I think we need to start talking about pennies for sure. Do you want to talk silver about Lincoln cents or Indian cents? They are, and they're disappearing fast. Like they're gonna get called faster than anything I've ever seen. when you get your 3 Indian head scents, I need help with them. Okay. Well, if you DM me and you want help with them, we may end up showing them in class or club or whatever this is. But yeah, guys, throw me a message, DM me. Don't say it in the show because I won't forget. Like in the stream, I don't get to see the text after the stream ends. So throw me a DM, or you can email me at stewby@stewbyflipside.com. Some of you guys have my phone number. You can text me. And then also on the Warner Street Discord channel, there is a section for suggestions. So I will show you real quick. So this is the Warner Street Discord channel. If you scroll down here to the Flipside zone, new Collectors Club questions. And there's a bunch of discussions about bills. I don't really discuss bills, but here we go. Discussions about suggestions. So join that. Email me at stewbyflipside.com. DM me here on Whatnot. Your suggestions, your questions. There is absolutely nothing, a question that's wrong. Like, I need to know what's on your mind. So this is the Discord link for the Discord server. If you want to join that, Warner Street has stood up a Discord server, and the Flipside zone is down below. If you scroll down, and yeah, I'll tell you about that in a second, Larry. And then if you want to see, I usually post these shows about a week later, just because it takes me a while to record them off screen. But my YouTube channel is here, and you can see these replays. The one that's up right now, we talk about silver, and we talk about resources, meaning Red Book and other sources. So that's the very first episode of the New Coin Club. You can access it there. But in the next day or so, this last week's episode will go up. So with that being said, I got nothing else for you guys unless you have questions. Oh, the cowboy hat. So a streamer on here, Dooger Racing, and that's DOOGER_racing, takes quarters and dimes. This is a 2021 quarter, and makes them into Stetsons. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, that's always there. Yeah, Dooger Racing. Let me tag him. I'll tag him up. There we go. Dooger Racing. That's who you can hit up for your cowboy hat coins. They fit the little Jesus. Yeah, I think he pays attention to that. Why the verify thread? Just to make sure you're real. To make sure we don't get bots coming over from Whatnot, entering givvies. It's like a super simple verification. Why? Is it failing? Are you a bot, Lulu? It's asking for Pokemon cards. Yeah, I thought the verification was literally just clicking a button when I verified, I think. But yeah, if you already have a Discord account, it should be straightforward. But anyway, the YouTube channel doesn't require verification, but it is just a recording of these. So anyway, I guess I'll let everybody go. We usually run, you're waiting for a buyer's giving. Yeah, thank you, Larry. And I, again, this isn't my show. This is your show. And I need you guys to be fueling that. The feedback loop is DM me, email me, drop it in the Discord channel. There's so many different ways to let me know. But um but let me know. Hey Bruman, the good news is I'll post this up again, but I post these about a week late, but I post these on the Stewby Flipside YouTube channel. If you take a screenshot of that, that'll take you to the Stewby Flipside channel on YouTube. And oh, thank you, Robert. My goal in all of this is to make this less confusing for everyone. And Robert, I know you know what you want, especially when it comes to Morgans. But not everybody has a lane picked out. And we all showed up on this platform really in mass very quickly. And at the same time, Silver was doing crazy things. So the conversation's super confusing. And the best thing I can do is, instead of getting frustrated and yelling on my show every day about melt or whatever, is to just explain why I collect these things. So that's why this started. But I want to hear your questions. There's absolutely nothing you could say. There's no naive question. Oh, hold on. Did I just go dead? I don't know. Hello? Are we there? Am I here? Okay, I'm good. Well, I clicked a button, which is usually a bad thing for me. But there's no naive question. I mean, there are naive questions, but I'm not going to treat it like it's a naive question. I want, I want everybody to enjoy this hobby I've enjoyed since I was 12, and we're all going to enjoy it in a totally different way. So that's why I say on the outset of this show, we'll debate facts. We will not debate philosophy. You collect for whatever reason you collect. So, with that, I'm going to wish you all good night. Tomorrow morning, I'll be on at 6:30. If you do want to buy stuff from me, I will be selling stuff in that show. This show, I sell nothing. So, I appreciate everybody spending their time with me and for listening to me drone on. And I again encourage people to drop me DMs, emails, etc. Let me know what next week could be. And I think the getting into sense idea is a great conversation and timely. So maybe we'll do that. But keep flooding the inbox, please. I read every single email and try to respond. Why not? I mean, I don't think Whatnot's going to let you send them, but why not? Send me what. There's no naive question or picture. So all right, everybody, have a wonderful night. I will see you at 6:30 tomorrow morning if your butt is up as early as mine. Okay? Thank you so much. Let's go raid somebody and let's see who's on. Let me just see. I don't ever raid